scared and terribly sick alien feline, was left to suffer in pain until beginning the encounter. The colony of Oleron, 9 was small by galactic standards, barely more than a scattered outpost at the edge of the Veil Nebula. Its population hovered just under 200 souls, mostly miners, mechanics, and hydroponic farmers who had grown accustomed to the loneliness of living so far from the bustling trade routes. The place was rugged, windswept, and often plagued by storms of charged dust that interfered with communications. Dr. Mara Keene was one of the few people who had come voluntarily. She was a xenobiologist trained on the orbital universities of Earth, but she had grown tired of theories and hollow simulations. She wanted real encounters with alien life, even if that meant being stationed on a rocky, barely habitable moon. One stormy evening, Mara was cataloging samples in her lab when a strange sound carried to the thin metal of the colony's outer walls. At first, she dismissed it as a wind, or perhaps a struggling vent system. But then came the unmistakable sound of a cry. Not mechanical, not human, something alive. She grabbed her breather mask and coat, stepping into the biting storm. The wind pushed against her, and her boots crunched in the dust as she followed the faint sound toward the edge of the colony's perimeter lights. There, half buried in drifting sand, lay a shape, her breath caught in her throat. It was a creature, feline in form but larger than any terrestrial cat, with sleek, shimmering fur that seemed to ripple in faint bioluminescent patterns even under the storm's gloom. Its long ears twitched weakly, and its body shuddered as if racked by fever. The creature's eyes, huge luminous orbs of deep violet, met hers for a heartbeat before squeezing shut in pain. Mara knelt beside it, carefully brushing the dust from its heaving flanks. She could see deep lesions along its side, some raw, others crusted as if weeks old. Its breathing was shallow and uneven. "By the stars," she whispered. "Who did this to you?" The storm howled louder, and she knew she had only moments to decide. The colony leaders wouldn't be happy if she dragged an unknown alien inside. Regulations were clear. No foreign organisms within the hab modules without full quarantine. But leaving the poor thing out here was a death sentence. Her heart overrode her training. With a grunt, she slid her arms under the feline's trembling body. It was surprisingly light for its size, its bones hollow like a bird's. She staggered back to the lab, shielding it from the storm. The struggle. Mara placed the creature gently onto the sterile examination bed, sealing the lab from the rest of the colony. She activated quarantine protocols anyway, to keep anyone from barging in. The feline's vitals were weak. She injected stabilizing fluids and began scanning its body with her med sensors. The results made her frown. Its blood carried a strange cocktail of metallic compounds, unlike anything she had studied. Its organs were arranged in patterns that defied standard anatomy, as though evolution had bent rules differently on its home world. But most troubling of all was the infection spreading through its system. Not bacterial, not viral, something engineered. The growths in its bloodstream bore the telltale markers of nanite corrosion, machines so small they gnawed itself from within. Someone had deliberately poisoned it. The feline stirred weakly, emitting a low, guttural sound that vibrated in her chest like a mournful song. Despite its size and alien strangeness, it radiated the vulnerability of any suffering animal. Mara stroked its fur gently, and to her surprise, the creature leaned ever so slightly into her hand. She whispered softly, "You're safe now. I'll do what I can." For days, she worked tirelessly. She crafted nanite countermeasures, reprogramming decommissioned mining drones into crude medical hunters that could patrol the feline's bloodstream. She mixed antibiotics and nutrient drips tailored to its alien metabolism. The feline, whom she began calling Vera, after an old terror myth of guardian cat, slowly began to stabilize. It no longer whimpered constantly. Its breathing grew stronger, and it sometimes lifted its head to watch her with luminous eyes. But not everyone in the colony was pleased. Colony Chief Dorian slammed his hand against her lab console one evening. "You've gone too far, Doctor, bringing in an unknown species without clearance? If that thing carries pathogens." "I've sealed the lab. Nothing gets out," Mara countered, standing her ground. "Besides, it's intelligent. I can see it in its eyes." "Intelligent or not, it's dangerous," Dorian barked. "Do you know how many colonists died last year from alien encounters gone wrong? I won't have another incident. Mara clenched her fists. It was left to die, Dorian. Somebody tortured it. Don't you want to know who or what did that? His gaze wavered, but he said nothing more, storming out of the lab. Later that night, as Mara sat beside Vera, she wondered about his silence. Could it be that someone in the colony knew more than they admitted? Rising tension. The truth revealed. Vera's condition improved, but her scans revealed something disturbing. The nanite infection wasn't just killing it. It was designed to control it. Buried deep within Vera's brain was a dormant implant, one that looked military. Mara's pulse quickened. This wasn't a random alien animal. This was a weapon. The pieces began falling into place. She remembered whispered rumors of the Zereth war beasts, creatures bioengineered by a distant empire, used as living weapons against frontier colonies. They were said to be cunning, bonded to their handlers, and devastating on the battlefield. If Vera was one of them, then someone had abandoned her here to die after a failed mission. But why? The answer came unexpectedly. One night, the storm outside fell silent, and the colony lights flickered. Mara looked up sharply as a shadow crossed her lab's window. Sleek shapes moved between the buildings. Strangers in dark armor, their outlines too smooth to be miners or colonists. Raiders. Her calm crackled with Dorian's voice panicked. All colonists of the shelters were under attack. The raiders stormed the colony, weapons blazing. Mara sealed the lab doors, her heart racing. Vera, though still weak, lifted its head and growled, a deep, resonant sound that vibrated the walls. Its eyes glowed brighter, as if recognizing the scent of its tormentors. Suddenly, the implant in its skull flared to life. Vera howled in agony, thrashing against the restraints. Mara realized the raiders were trying to reactivate their control. No, stay with me, she cried, rushing to the console. She jammed a bypass into the signal feed, scrambling the implant's frequency. The feline collapsed, panting, but the connection broke. Outside, the colony militia fought desperately, but they were outnumbered. Mara made a choice. She unlocked Vera's restraints. The feline staggered to its feet, its wounds glowing faintly where her nanite hunters still worked. It looked at her, then at the door. Mara nodded. Go. Fight. Be free. With a roar that shook the lab, Vera burst through the reinforced doors, as though they were paper. Climax. The battle for Alaron 9. The colony became a battlefield. Vera moved like a streak of living lightning, leaping across rooftops, tearing through raiders with teeth and claws that sliced armor as if it were cloth. Blaster fire lit the night, but the feline dodged and struck with uncanny precision. Mara followed at a distance, tending to the wounded and rallying colonists to safety. Everywhere she went, she saw flashes of Vera, a guardian spirit unleashed. The raider commander, a tall figure with a cruel smile, finally faced a beast in the colony square. His gauntlet glowed as he raised a control module. Back to heel, war beast, he commanded. Vera froze, trembling as the implant sparked again. Its eyes flickered between rage and agony. Mara knew she had only seconds. She sprinted forward, seizing a discarded blaster. With trembling hands, she aimed not at the commander but at the control device. A single shot shattered it in his grip. The commander's eyes widened in shock just as Vera lunged. The feline's roar drowned out his scream, and when the dust settled, the raiders fled into the night, leaving their leader broken in the square. The colony was saved. Ending. Healing and freedom. In the days that followed, Alaron 9 began to recover. The colonists repaired their homes and honored their dead. Many whispered of the alien beast that fought beside them. Fear turned to respect, though Dorian still eyed Vera with caution. Mara continued her treatments until the last traces of the infection were gone. The feline grew stronger, its fur glowing with healthy bioluminescence once more. Sometimes, she would find it perched outside her lab, gazing at the nebula with an almost wistful air. One quiet evening, she stood beside it. You don't belong here, do you? She murmured. You've got a whole galaxy waiting for you. Vera pressed his head gently against her shoulder in answer. The next morning, she watched as it padded to the edge of the colony, paused to look back at her one final time, then leapt into the wilds beyond. Mara felt a pang of loss, but also pride. She hadn't just saved a life, she had freed a soul. And somewhere out there, Beyond the storm-swept horizon of Oleron 9, a once scared and terribly sick alien feline was no longer suffering, no longer enslaved, but alive and free.